Welcome back to Boropod. A virus has ripped through the camp and only myself and Greg survived from the regular crew, but we've dipped into the emergency loan market and come up trumps. Dean Thompson joins us and Josh is with us as well. Marvellous news. Josh, how are you doing this evening?
Better now I'm at home and not where I was yesterday. It's amazing what not being in Plymouth does to you now.
Absolutely. I'm glad you made it back in time to start the recording as well. How are you doing tonight, Dean?
Yeah, good. Not too bad at all. Better than young Albie, whose journey I enjoyed following on the Twitter yesterday.
I didn't enjoy following
Excellent.
it. I enjoyed doing it.
And how are you doing, Craig?
I'm all right, not too bad. I'm glad I wasn't at Plymouth last night, although I did contemplate it a couple of times and then remembered when last time I went and vowed never to go back. Reminded myself of that day.
You must have quite a long list of stadiums you vowed not to go back to.
Yeah, and Broadway Way's one of them, but I'm still there every other week. So there's definitely a fair few away grounds I now need serious convincing of returning to. Luton being one of them after the 7-1 debacle many years ago, but I have been since. So
we shouldn't really need warning, really, should we? If you look at young Chubbs' stats last night of our trips to Devon, it's just diabolical, isn't it?
It's one of those places it takes about a year and a half to get to, and you always come away with nothing. So fair play to the 100 and however many fans were there, because it's you got to be hardcore to make that trip down on a Tuesday night.
I only went for the
new ground. We'll come on to that one because we haven't talked about Stevenage Wimbledon yet, and that was at least a more cheerful result, if not necessarily a more cheerful performance. We lined up Luther right wing back / right back, Good, Pidge, Freestone across the back four, Patterson left back, left wing back, left mid, kind of varied throughout the game in place of the injured Saxon Early. Midfielders Houghton, White and Kemp, Matt Phillips and Jamie Reid, the front two. And it was a much improved performance from the Leyton Orient game, I thought. A lot tighter and more together as a group. Didn't finish many chances, but got that goal from the Pidge fouled in the penalty area. Reid tucks away the penalty combination that we've had 2 games in a row. So, a good 3 points against a side who looked to be on good form, who we limited to very few chances. I don't remember a difficult save for Phil. They had more possession than us, but they didn't do that much with it, and we did enough on the day. So, thoughts on Stevenage Wimbledon?
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Why not? Just had to bounce back. I think that was the most important part of Saturday. Is it wasn't spectacular, but keep a clean sheet, win the game. That was all really that mattered. And I would have liked to have been a bit more comfortable. Would have liked us to maybe have put our foot on the pedal a little bit more. But when you've been, at times not at your best, getting the results the most important part, and that was the most pleasing part for me. And the penalty was you see that happen a million times a game, but it was given, and I think it's one of those ones that I saw an angle from the away end where it looked a bit soft, and I was a little bit kind of like,
I said that.
At the time, I was like, "Oh, he's just booted him. Oh, that's the penalty all day long." But then I saw it from the other angle after the game, and I was I was a little bit like, I think we got a bit of a fortunate one there. I think Pidge sold it quite well, but it was put away nicely.
It's only a 1-goal margin victory again, though, isn't it? Not being critical, but a lot of our games, we've only had 3 wins that aren't by more than 1 goal. And it leaves the door open for teams all the time. And I know you said women didn't have any chances. If they score 1, that's points dropped again. And that's the kind of thing that worries me. That even our wins aren't convincing.
But even at the beginning of the, Blackpool opening day, it wasn't convincing, was it? It was 3-2. There were more goals in it, but it wasn't convincing. And I remember looking back, like when we were in the middle of that horrible run, I was looking back and thinking, well, that wasn't convincing. That worked, but we were winning, and that's what it takes at the minute. Unfortunately. And I was lucky. I was lucky enough to have 10 minutes with Phil after the game Saturday, and I said, do you think we'll fill the ground next Saturday? And he went, no. He said, we need to be Lincoln. You need to be good all season. You need to be entertaining all season to build that momentum of people wanting to come. And he said, but it is what it is. And Stevenage has always been the same, Greg, hasn't it? From when you were a kid, Graham used to talk about it. Well, we're top of the conference. Why can't we fill the ground? And it's tough for Revs. Looking at a half-empty ground, and we're going fifth in the league, and you think, where are you people? Why aren't you coming out? This is,
But this is the thing.
Historic.
We've not felt. I mean, going into the game on Saturday, it didn't feel like, we're fifth in the league. It didn't feel like we were, and that's the same, going into Plymouth. And I make a joke about been there before, vowed never to go back, all the rest of it. But you should be seeing more than 130 or how many fans there were. You should be seeing more. There should be a better feeling around the fan base than there is right now. And that's the weirdest part of all of this, because yes, we've been up and down, and this division has kind of allowed us to be where we are in the league. The fact that there is inconsistencies all around. You've got Cardiff and Lincoln that are running away with it, but below that, everyone's very much for muchness. But the fact that we are still now, even after the Plymouth results didn't go our way, we are still in with a shout of making the playoffs. But it doesn't feel that way. It feels like we're just petering out to mid-table nothingness, which is a really weird way to be, and weird situation to be in, because we should be, even if not filling the ground, we should be getting 5,000-6,000 in there comfortably. Recent weeks, even Orient, who brought decent, even Wimbledon brought a decent number of fans, and we're getting 3.5, whatever it was. I mean, I feel for Phil, and because I think I'm not really sure what he can do to pack that ground out other than play Luton every week.
Yeah,
that's really what it seems like we ever get close to. Do
you think we'd sell out if we played them now?
Yeah.
Do you think we'd be just short of a sellout?
I think it'd be a sellout, 100%.
Yeah, they go.
Jack Wilshere's last game, couldn't it? So
they say they're never going again. And my cousin sent me a video a couple of weeks ago of a Luton fan cutting up his season ticket. But they
he's got another one on his phone. It's fine.
Yeah, it was last season.
We don't accept them anyway, so don't worry about it.
But yeah, I mean, it was. People say it was 1-0. We had a couple of chances of balls that flew to the far post. Roberts didn't quite connect. Bez connected with the post. Kemp had a shot on the turn. So there were 3 or 4 chances in that second half that, give or take a yard, they'd go in. So, but yeah,
it's always a
win.
We've talked about on this podcast quite a lot about how this is one of the strongest Stevenage squads that we've had in a long time, probably ever. Yeah, I still looked at that bench last night, and I looked at that bench on Saturday, and everything just went to Kayla. Bez Labal is your main attacking threat, and that's not particularly a good place to be in. So it's I know we've had a lot of injuries, and I mean, there must be 7 or 8 players that we won't see for the rest of the year. But it does feel like if it's not quite going your way, and I think we were fortunate against Wimbledon, we scored early. If it's not going to go quite your way, and we saw that against Plymouth, it feels difficult to kind of have a system to change to, or a way to play to try and break teams down, or to try and get back into games. And it's all right when you're scoring early on in a penalty, going a goal up against a Wimbledon side who have been in okay form, but they're not the best team in the league, very mid-table. But they didn't really threaten, as Pat said. I don't remember Phil having to make a save.
Didn't lay a glove on us.
They missed that header for Matty Stevens. That was a really good chance. But apart from that, I don't remember anything dangerous. And
He's got beaten in the air again.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember that.
We've had so
Although I
many
guess it's
wins, I
more
think.
on the ground, getting into the area where he needed to be to win the header, but same difference, and that's the same thing. Sorry, Josh.
Off the top of my head, I feel like a lot of our home wins have been very similar games. First 20 minutes, strong flurry, good lot of half chances. Reed scores one early, and then it's sort of 50 minutes of nothing really happening. We injure a few players get injured. Last 20 minutes.
All for it.
Last 20 minutes, another big flurry. We miss a few more important chances. Then there's 6 minutes added on because we've killed 2 people. Then we go, oh, we're gonna throw this away. They're gonna equalise here. Then there's another 3 minutes on top of that because we've made more subs. That's the first time we make subs. More people get injured, and then we win. We finish 1-0 and we go, oh, last season we would have drawn that. That's improvement. It's actually just the same game every time. It's just bleak. Some of our home games are really, really similar, and they blend into one.
Which beggars the question: why don't opposition managers do something about it? Because they know exactly what we're going to do, but they can't combat it. They can't combat Goods. They can't combat Gianni. They can't combat Louis Thompson. Dan Phillips. They haven't got players that can stand up against them.
Unless you got a Don Ballard who's way quicker than them, and
he's not a League One player, is he?
I mean, how Orient have got that guy, I don't know, but I think
Richie's turned him into £1 million player.
No, he hasn't. That's not Richie. He's done that himself. I'm not giving him any credit whatsoever.
They get a goal scorer every year without fail. They do it very well.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that we have been lacking, and since we moved to sort of 3 at the back, we've become solid again. I think we were leaking goals a bit when we were playing the 4 at the back. We've become more like last year's Stevenage, but it has not helped us also in terms of our identity going forward. And you've got 3 or 4 wingers in this squad who now can't get a game because they don't fit the system anymore, unless you're playing Patterson at left wing back like we did on Saturday.
Did we?
Well, yeah, we kind of did. I mean, he was more left wing back, I'd say, than he was playing left wing.
I think Neil got the answer to the question, but you have to subscribe to Neil's great work to find out the answer. It was almost like we played a back 4 with another, as in Phoenix playing as a spare, because at times Lewis Freestone was left back, wasn't he? And early in the first 10-15 minutes, I thought I was definite it was back 4, because Phoenix wasn't defensive, and maybe that was just him not going by command. But yeah, he done all right. He done okay. He done what you would have expected him to do. And I'm very much of the opinion that I don't want the wide players in, because when the wide players were in, we went through that horrid run where we won 1 in 16, didn't we? When Chairman and Phoenix were playing, and I don't think it suited us. So he's got a problem there, Alex, for the summer. Does he keep him or does he get rid of him? Give me Saxon any day of the week in that 11, and I'm a happy man.
I think part of that, and I've said it after the Barnsley game, your tallest forward is 6'1". So what are wingers contributing if they're crossing the ball to Reed, who's double marked and 4 inches shorter than the 2 players on him? Then you've got the wing at the back post, your midfielders who can come up. White isn't going to be in the box. No. Phillips isn't going to win that header. So you can't have wingers. What are they crossing to? Unless you're having a dead ball situation, you can't bring the defenders up.
And this is what I've said on here a couple of times, Josh. We've got no thrust in that midfield. That we don't have that David Bridges arriving, who's just been in our penalty area doing work, and he's got up the other end. And he was a 10-goal a season midfielder, wasn't he?
I think just end the podcast there. Stephen is David Bridges. That is all.
See you next week.
Or a Dean Parrott. Parrott gave you thrust, didn't he? He got you over the halfway line, and if someone else was with the ball, he would just go on. And but we don't have that.
No.
Houghton, Phillips, 1 goal between the 2 of them. Louis, 2 goals. That ain't gonna win.
More than 3 people in the box counter-attacking. Kemp will get in there. Roberts will get in there. Reed will get in there. No midfielders. Phillips will never come into the box. It's not his game. White won't either. It's You're always going to be short-numbered in the box.
Yeah.
I think that's also, like, you think about since the change of formation, I don't think it's helped Dan Kemp either, because Kemp's that player who should be arriving late in the box. Should be that. He's not necessarily the same ilk as a Dave Bridges or a John Musinho or someone who I think you're referring to there. But in terms of the type of midfielder you want, sort of getting into those areas, he's probably the closest that we have got. Because I mean, Houghton's a shielding midfielder who's going to sit in the middle of the park, break things up, no problem. You've got Dan Phillips, who's in there just to kick some ankles and see how long till he gets booked most of the time. And I say that with nothing but respect to the guy, because I think he covers every blade of grass. I like him a lot.
He's
but
brilliant.
I don't think you're right in terms of he's not got that attacking threat. Louis, I think, can get up and down the pitch, but he's not proven himself to be any chipping in with 5-10 goals a season.
But you want 10 out of Kemp, don't you?
Yeah, but you're not getting that. I mean, we had that last year when we sort of played in a slightly different system and maybe got him in better areas. But we haven't seen that this season. So you're relying really on Reed and more recently Matt Phillips, who isn't a prolific goal scorer. I think he's a class above in terms of what he offers you, but he's not going to go and necessarily score you 10 goals in the 15 games that he plays. This has been a problem for years, and you saw jumping ahead slightly, but you also know with Jamie Reed that give him opportunities one-on-one, he's gonna miss more than he probably puts away, and that's the frustrating part of what Jamie brings to the table. But when he's at it, we all know that he can score goals. But the reason he's playing League One football is because he hasn't got that level of consistency. If he did, he'd be playing Championship or above.
And that's the same for all of our players ultimately, isn't it? You know, you look at, I had this conversation with Revs earlier in the season. Chem, if he could do it, I mean, you couldn't drop Chem in October. I thought he was, incredible. However, he can't do it every week, because if he could, then he wouldn't be with us. Let's face it.
Fair. Right, let's take it on to Tuesday night then, the trip to Plymouth. One of the most frustrating games I've listened to this season, I think, because it wasn't like a lack of performance. It was they were creating a load of chances, not taking the chances. And I think I said about 25 minutes in, this has got all the hallmarks of squandering a load of chances and losing 1-0. And that's exactly how it turned out. It was predictable from halfway through the first half, the way it was built. That's always frustrating. So I guess they were dealing with losing yet another player playing left wing back. So it kind of forced their hand back to Luther, Good, Pidge and Freestone across the back line. Jordan Roberts came in for Patterson, with Kemp, Thompson and White in midfield, Reed and Phillips still the front two. And Phillips missed a decent chance early on. Reed had that chance one-on-one, which he'll be disappointed not to have put away. They could have had a man sent off, fouling someone who was about to escape through as the last man, but at a good distance from goal. So it might have been an overzealous red. I've seen him given, I've seen him not. And then, sucker punched us from a corner, which they headed in from about 2 yards out, with Phil pinned to his line, but pinned well enough that it probably wasn't a foul. Freestone lost his man in the melee, and a dude got a free header 2 yards out right in the middle of the 6-yard box, which is something you never want to see. That tells you multiple people in the defence have screwed things up. So, an overall performance was okay on a difficult away trip, but an end result that is far from what they needed.
The goal, we've seen this a few times in recent weeks, where putting the ball or sort of flooding the goal line, making it difficult for Phil, and then putting the ball in his head seems to be the tactic that has worked on a number of occasions now. He was absolutely flapping at it last night. It wasn't great for Phil, and I've kind of grown to like him a lot more. In the early part, I was a bit skeptical of how good he was, but I think he's actually been pretty solid this year. I'm not going to criticize him, but that is something he does look susceptible in, is those corners when they come in at that. We saw it a couple of times. There was that goal which everyone thought was a foul. I can't remember, it was against the other week. And then there was one literally 5 minutes later that the referee gave a foul for, ended up hitting the bar, but he was all over the place again for that. You've got to, at some point, you've got to work out a way that this is going to become a constant tactic now, and that other managers will think, okay, well, let's just put it on his head because he clearly isn't commanding enough to come out and deal with it. But overall performance, I think first half we had a lot of efforts from distance. Didn't really feel like we had one shot on target the whole game. Didn't really ever feel like we were sort of necessarily the better side. It was one of those games that probably should have just been a 0-0 draw, to be honest with you. It just took that moment from a set piece that they scored from, and that was enough. They just didn't have anything apart from the Jamie Reid one-on-one, which was about as gilt-edged as you're going to get at this level.
What about the offside? The goal he did score was, from what
good point.
It's no great angle to watch it on highlights, but not many people think it was off. And the linesman, I hear from someone that was in the away end, found it humorous, to say the least, that he's given offside.
It looked like it'd been played backwards, but at the time I was thinking, how is that offside? It felt very, very odd to me, but I haven't seen a proper replay of it, to be honest with you, to kind of comment much further.
It's one of those when I'm at a game, because I was at the front, I would never have a view of it. It's so ridiculous. It must be offside because surely there's no. It looked like it's gone backwards, so surely it must be offside because it seems so obvious that it isn't. That I must have missed something, if that makes sense. Sometimes I look at these decisions and go, I must have missed something because it can't. I don't know. In a way, I was really annoyed. After I was like, it's the difference between 1-0 and 1-1, and it's a point, and it's not a loss, but. I don't think it's enough.
Oh, I'd have taken a point all day long.
I'd have taken a point.
Yeah, it would have been a good point, but I think in the grand scheme of things, and I think we showed limitations again.
With 10 games to go, I think we probably needed to win 6. So now we've got to win 6 out of 9. Yeah, we've got 4 of the top 7. So we're going to have to beat 1 or 2 of them. Bolton, Bradford, never going to be easy. Home to Lincoln, never going to be easy.
Home to Reading, we've never beaten the league.
We've never, don't talk about that. But,
never beaten Bolton, only beaten Bradford twice.
But then we have got 3 teams in and around the bottom 6. Doncaster a little bit above it, but Wigan, Blackpool, and Rotherham. So you've got to win them. You've got to win them 4 games against the bottom half sides, and then go and even if you nick a couple of points and a win. Can you hold Lincoln at home? Yeah, probably.
I think Lincoln suits us more than Bolton and Bradford.
I think any of those.
Even if the other 2 were at home, I'd say Lincoln suits us more.
Yeah.
They are really good, though. I'm not saying they're easy of it. I don't think it suits us more. They are very good.
We don't like having possession of the ball. So I feel like any side that comes to our place, and I think Reading on Saturdays are probably going to be a good example of this, where they'll come, be on the front foot. I don't think they'll be expansive necessarily, but I think they'll certainly come down here and they won't be worried about having possession. And I actually think that plays into our favour. I don't think when you've got a side like who we've got home, like Blackpool at home, for example. I mean, they won, I think, last night. They're probably going to come down here and think, we'll take a point here and we'll move on. Like, I don't think they're necessarily going to be going out to try and win it.
Well, they might have to by that time. I
don't know. There's only a few games from now. They still have another 4 or 5 games before then. And I mean, unless they have a shocker over the next few games and are really right down there, that's definitely a game they're probably looking at now, thinking we'll take a point from that. We'll try and win some home games.
They got Cardiff away, Burton at home, Exeter at home, and then they come to us. Yeah, they've got nice fixtures actually.
Yeah, I mean, but they'll fancy those home games for sure. But they're definitely not going to come down to our place and think we must win this. I don't think, unless circumstances change. And I think that's the sort of game I can see us really struggling to break.
But then I saw Richie Wellens' interview before our game, and he'd kind of written it off. He went, "Look," he said, "we try and win every game." But
he looked a beaten man when he was 1-0 down. He looked like he was just leaning against the dugout, completely accepting that, okay, we lost this game. I'll probably be out of a job pretty soon.
And Steve said, "Look, if I'm a player out there that's really struggling, I'm going to look to my manager for something, and I'm getting nothing from him."
Yeah.
But there you go. Maybe it was a bit of reverse psychology from him because he's been trying to tell him
it's worked, isn't it?
I haven't been doing it.
My only
for sure.
thing with games like Blackpool at home, they might not come for anything. Is I was looking at our stats. We average 9 shots a game, not even on target, just 9 shots in general. We're we're bottom 3 for chances created. Blackpool are bottom 2 for chances created. And if you're only going to score 1 goal a game average, I don't need to push you too hard to get something. Because if you score 1 against us, that is a good chance that's enough to get something, a point or 3. So you don't need to come here and throw the kitchen sink at us. Because
Exactly.
if someone slips up and gives you a chance or penalty, you've got a goal. You've probably got a point. How many of our games this season at home would a goal get you a point or 3 if you're an away team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's where teams like Blackpool really worry me because they'll find that goal. He used to score loads of goals. I remember him. He's 37 now. What? You always have someone like that turn up, and you go, that's points dropped. Yeah. That's my fear. That's my fear. If we were to get the playoffs as well, the 2 teams would probably play in that. Bolton and Bradford, you'd need 4 goals against them to get through. I don't know if we get 4 goals from over 2 legs.
The only thing is with playoffs is a bit more of a shootout, right? I know it's over 2 legs, but it's you kind of if you're Revel getting into the playoffs, you don't have to worry about getting the players up for those 2 games, and should just be a case of they're not going to play within themselves. I think there's been times this season where there's been some games where we have just played within ourselves, and that's when we've dropped unnecessary points. I think the biggest problem we have right now is injury problems don't seem to be getting much better. We've got to go back to 4 at the back now. We saw that against Plymouth. We've obviously have that. Now Patterson is supposedly injured as well. I think 4 at the back is the way we're going to go. Yeah. Is that going to get you the results? Didn't get us the results for 16 games or 1 in 16, whatever it was that you said about Dino. Like, is that going to get you the results between now and the end of the year to be at the dance? Probably not.
I don't think the problem was at the back then. Yeah, Pidge had a bit of a rough patch, didn't he? And did Charlie miss 1 or 2? Sweens came in, did well for a game. Then there's a clanger. Oh, I don't know. Pidge looks better now. I think it did him good to sit out. And fair play to Revs or to Scott Cuthbert or whoever told Pidge he wasn't playing, because it certainly wouldn't have been me.
Give Keith Bell that job.
But that back 4, you look at other back 4s. It's Luther, Charlie, Carl, and Lewis. There's not many defenders in the league that I'd rather have in our back 4 than those 4, if I'm being honest. And maybe I'm reminiscing and what great service they've given to us. And I love Lewis Freestone. He's going to play at a much better level than what he's at the minute, in my opinion. But we are missing Butler. We are missing Saxon. There is competition at that left-hand side, and we haven't got it at the minute. So we've got to go with what we've got to go with. And, I feel sacked for Saxon massively because, those ankles of his are a bit glass, aren't they? And, he came in and he was performing like he'd been there all season for me. And, we've got that with Lewis, but he doesn't give you that going forward in that left wing back position. So you wouldn't play him there.
No, of course not. I think Freestone has to be, if he's going to play left back, you're not getting that attacking threat. So you then need someone on that left hand side who's going to go and provide that. And that's been the worry, is that you've got Roberts, who we all know what Robbo's going to do. Like, he's either going to be absolutely at it or anonymous. There's nothing in between. And who else have you got? I mean, Chem, I don't even think was on the bench.
Chem's injured.
Wasn't even on the bench.
I think he's got a bit of an issue with his back, so I don't think we'll see him in the next couple of games. But Jordan Roberts came in and he played in a 10. And he was phenomenal. And I said to Revs afterwards, I went, Jordan Roberts, what did you do with him? He went, I just let him do what he wanted to do. He said, and that's what you've got to do with Jordan sometimes. Let go of his lead and say, go on, be Jordan Roberts. But we can't always do that. It's a luxury almost to let Jordan
Especially
Roberts.
when you've got a Kemp in the side who's of a similar ilk, right? In terms of very different style of player, but very similar in terms of he also just wants to be floating around, picking up the ball in different areas.
He wants to play in the 10, Kemp. Yeah. He doesn't want to cut in from the right, and that's where Rev started him. If you remember, back end of last season, he started him on the right, and
he started very slowly.
Who is this player that we saw when he was young? And he's nothing, but he put him in the 10, and away he went, and he was great. But this season, it just hasn't happened for him, has it, Kempy? And It's frustrating.
It's always going to be the problem.
Sorry,
I was going to say, there's always going to be the problem with this squad, like attrition over the season, and it's starting to rear its ugly head now that we're basically down to 5 fit defenders, including Sweeney, who is the guy on the bench there for basically whoever needs to come off, it seems.
Yeah.
It's tough, and it really limits your options.
I've got no problem with Jasper being in the side at all.
I forgot about Jasper. Sorry.
When Luther was playing at right centre back, I thought Jasper, was good as gold.
You just can't play on the left, right?
You wouldn't play. No, you wouldn't play.
You don't even play wing back. I
don't
think you're going to get enough out of him in that position. I agree with you. I think when he was right wing back and Luther was playing as part of the back three, I thought he was pretty solid. I didn't think there was any issues with him whatsoever. But it makes sense to maybe say, right, you go over to the left, put Luther back at right, and we have then the 3 centre halves. I don't think that's. I think they briefly tried it before they made loads of subs. When we had
when Saxon came off,
it just didn't work.
I didn't get it. I don't know why he didn't see it through till half time with 10 men and have 15 minutes to think about
I said this last week. He absolutely there was a free kick that was given, and he was almost too worried of, okay, if I don't make this change now, and they go and score from this free kick, and one of our best centre halves is standing on the sideline waiting to come on, you're probably going to make that change anyway. I agree with you though.
Luther then had to get out of the mindset of playing centre back. Oh, now I'm a right wing back.
Yeah,
and Jasper had to go the other side. It just
completely
see it through half time and then have a good old powwow about it.
I said last week that felt like a moment of inexperience from Revs, and let's face it, he's a manager who's managed 150 games now, whatever it is.
Plus you'd have got a free substitution at half time.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
It is learning, I hope.
And
these little things, they happen to everyone at some point.
It's been, we always joke about the Revs out, don't we? And there is absolutely nobody better to lead this group of players because he knows them inside out. If you look at some of the appointments you've seen in the last week or two. Look at Lee Clark going to Rotherham.
Oh my word!
Why would you? I mean, who on earth, if you were going to get rid of Revs, would you bring in whilst you're in a playoff? I just don't get it. I mean, Revs is the best man for this squad of players. He's got a big summer coming up, though. Whether we get in the playoffs or whether we don't, let's face it. I don't think if we had a vote now, none of us think we're going to be playing in the Championship next season, do we? But it's fun. Let's get Bradford in the playoffs, and as you say, injure a couple of their players or something. But it would be great. It'd be exciting. It'll be fun, and it'd be proper old Stevenage doing, beating the odds like we did when we got to play Sheffield United. Under Gary Smith /
I'd rather play
if you told us with 9 games to go, we had a playoff place in our own hands. We could do that all day.
This is what I was saying earlier. This is why it is when you say about we're not filling the ground, or this is the perfect time to come down. I know. Like the football is not champagne football most of the time, and we are catering or trying to get a load of people who watch Premier League football every single week who, ironically, are mostly Arsenal fans who win by winning set pieces anyway. But
it's 1-0 to the Arsenal, isn't it? But and 3 Counties were talking this morning. Jeff was saying, well, it's Monday morning or 1-0 to the Stevenage now, isn't it? But that's and so what? I'm okay with that. But some people just want to be entertained. They want shots, peppering goals, don't they? But this is League One.
I do think, and I said this earlier, and I am the most positive person. Well, I'm not actually Farias, but I'm positive on the whole. On the whole, I am positive, and I'm full of, and I support them and I will go to games. But I'm like, I can't see how this ends with anything more successful than that's a good finish. That's a good season. I can't see us going up. I can't. It sounds like we're doing it. We're in a good space. It is in our hands. But I feel like we just sort of we're seeing the season out. And I know we're not. We are. It's still lots to play for. It doesn't have the energy of we could go up. It's just we've got out. We could get in. It feels like we're 5 points off the playoffs, but we're not. We're a point of a game in hand.
But you can see how much these players enjoy being with each other. I was watching Luther's video earlier where he's a day in the life of a footballer, and there are two things I picked from that. You know, Louis Thompson
tend to fuck off,
giving him absolute help and telling him to concentrate on a football match. Yeah, it was absolutely superb. But I know he gets it, Luther. I know he gets it from all of them, and you know, quite rightly so. But the other thing I picked up on that from Luther is that he's too tight to buy a decent coffee machine. And I am going to tell you, you know what? I love to come on here and tell you a story. Well, I have got a story about Luther Wilding and a coffee machine. If you'd like to hear it.
Yep, always.
Please.
So, and I'm going to tell him I've told this story. In COVID, it's no secret Luther digged with me here. So the coffee machine broke. So I ordered a new one online, real cheapy. You know, one of them ones with a pod. And you had to go to Curry's and pick it up at the door, right? So I give them the thing, right? Okay, here's your coffee machine, Mr. Thompson. And I'm walking across the car park with it, and I thought, well, that feels heavy. I get in they've given me the wrong coffee machine. They have given me a DeLonghi, and it's over there now, still, top of the range coffee machine. So I get home, and Luther went, "Wow, look at this, Dino. He loves coffee. Luther is a coffee freak." I went, "Luther, I paid 40 quid for that. We've looked it up. It's like 299 quid. So it stayed on the dining room table. And the next day he said, "Are you going to open this, Dino?" Yeah. Well, I feel bad, you know. What happens if they find out they've given me the wrong coffee machine, etc., etc., etc. So it stayed there another 24 hours. He went, "What are you going to do with this coffee machine?" He said, I'm gagging for coffee. And then it's got the security tag on it. All of a sudden, I've heard a pair of scissors go across the top of the box. He went, "You're keeping it now." And he lived on that coffee machine, my coffee machine. And in his spotless kitchen on his YouTube video, he's come clean and said he can't even be, he's too tight to buy a new coffee machine. And he uses one of them crappy old Italian coffee makers on the stove. Layla, get him to buy you a decent coffee machine, girl.
It's going to hurt the yield, though, isn't it? It's going to hurt the yield if you have too many extravagant purchases.
How are we going to attract players in the summer when they think we're playing players so little that they can't afford a coffee machine? He's got.
They're opening jars of Nescafe in their kitchen.
Amazing. Two last things on the Plymouth game before we look forwards. Good to see Lenny Brown get his debut, or league debut, I suppose. Came on for Kemp and got injury time, which is a bit of a token, but it's still good to see. And what happened at full time? Because they were describing what sounded like a flipping brawl on the radio, but I think they were probably...
Yeah, there was a bit of a melee, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I missed it. I was around.
Don't know. I watched a video from a Plymouth fan who was filming at full time, so he was behind the goal. So he got quite a good view of it, but not good enough that...
I saw a video, and it just seemed a bit of handbags, to be honest, right at the end of the game. Dan Sweeney was always near it as standard. But no, I think it was a really weird one. It kind of the clip I saw, it was, I think, Phillips, Labala, Sweeney all just getting involved with a load of players. It was probably about 10, 15 players in a melee, and then I think, is it Lou? No, it's Louis who gets dragged out by, I think it's Herbie Kane. And then that's pretty much it. All kind of submerses from there. It was a bit of nothing, I'm pretty sure.
It happens to us about 5 times a season, I swear.
Yeah, I'm amazed. I'm amazed it didn't happen against Orient, to be honest with you, because that's where the track record normally is, isn't it?
Yeah.
But Lenny is, I think he's all right. I think he's gonna, I don't think he's quite ready. But I think what Revs has seen. I spoke to Revs about him about 2 or 3 months ago, and he said by the end of the season he thinks he'll be in and on the bench, which is good. We've seen Docker's come through as well, and he's gone off to Ipswich for a significant six-figure sum, which is always good. Mm-hmm. And that's what academies are for, isn't it? They break in, they get the name made. Phil's very good at that. You look at who was the Eli, wasn't it? The goalkeeper that went to Manchester United.
Yeah.
Didn't ever put him in the matchday squad, put him on and made it known via the press and the media that the lad was on the pitch training as a third goalkeeper. Then all of a sudden he's gone to Manchester United. So fair play to Leon and to Phil and to Revs and all the academy staff that they're bringing these players through and the first team are doing their business and getting them in and getting their names out there, and we're making money out of them. That's what an academy's for. Dockers will be better for his experience in under 21s at Ipswich, I think, and he'll become a championship player, all being well.
I think it'd be good to see more of these players getting some minutes though. Like, I think this one thing I agree with you in terms of there's been some players that have been flipped on. There's the other keeper that went to Norwich, whose name now escaped me. Is it Mitchell?
Riley Mitchell.
Riley, that's the one. So there's been a few players like that who have gone and been sold on, which I think is great to see. But it's also nice to see, like Lenny last night, albeit 5 minutes at the end of the game, getting an opportunity to. Granted, didn't exactly have too much to do, but I want to see more of that. But I know, and I get it from Rev's perspective that when you're still in the hunt for playoffs, I'm pretty sure for a mid-table side, he might be getting another 10 minutes on top. But the reality is, whilst we're chasing,
or even if we had the luxury of being 2 goals up, he might give him an extra 10 minutes.
Yeah, maybe.
That would happen.
I think I'd like to see that more. I'd like to see more of these players go. It feels like we went through a phase. Ironically, mostly Irish boys coming in and playing a fair few minutes when we were in League Two a few years ago. But I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see more of these guys get just 15 minutes.
And we did see it under Sarli, didn't we? Because they were his boys, weren't they?
Yeah.
And he had a relationship with them. I mean, you'd probably forget. Ben Wilmot probably created us the most revenue, didn't he? I don't think I saw him play more than 10 times.
No.
Yeah, it was
basically stopped playing him, stopping getting injured, didn't we? I thought we pretty much said, right, we know he's going, just do not play him.
Yeah.
He was one of those players who I just remember watching him when he was playing, and I just thinking he just needs to fill out. And it's a bit like Ryan Johnson. You see Ryan Johnson on Saturday. The guy looks like an absolute brute now. He's unbelievable compared to what he was when he was with us.
Well, I can tell you a story about Ryan Johnson.
Go on, that's story time.
I had Dippo digging with me in this house, and I have some fantastic memories of Dippo and that class. And I'd gone to bed one night, and I thought, I need a drink. So I didn't have it. Came downstairs to the kitchen to get a glass of water. Ryan Johnson, this is 11 o'clock at night, is in my kitchen ironing a shirt. I went, John, 2 things. 1, you don't live here. And 2, why are you ironing a shirt at 11 o'clock? We're going out. We're going out dinner. Where can you possibly be going on a Thursday night at 11 o'clock? Oh, we're going to a club down in Enfield. Okay, I get my water, go to bed. Strange footballer in my front room ironing a shirt at 11 o'clock at night.
They love Nando's as well.
What a nice boy, and I didn't speak to him Saturday, but I love him. I love Ryan, and he's become a really good centre half, isn't he?
He's a very solid League One, League Two centre half, and every time I think of Ryan Johnson, I just think, was it Bury away when he got sent off about 4 minutes after coming on?
Oh yeah.
That's all I ever think of when I hear the name Ryan Johnson.
I've never been to Bury, luckily. Pretty good record there, I think.
I remember Bury when Gary Smith was hanging on by his fingernails, and Graham and Dino turned up at Bury in the crowd, and we thought, we know what's going on here.
We know what's
going on. We had 36
on.
away fans or 39, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It was a midweek. I remember that night vividly because I got cramps in their press box, and I had to sort of stand up for about 30 minutes in the press box because it wouldn't go away. But yeah, it was. Yeah. Bury was never a happy place, is it?
No.
Nor was Gary Smith times.
I'll put my finger on it.
Not quite as miserable as
Still
Lee
can't.
Clark, but up there.
How has Lee Clark got a job in League One?
Well, he retired in 2023.
I was looking, so I knew he'd gone and managed abroad, and I thought I just wanted to have a quick look. The last time he managed in England, it was for Blythe Spartans,
and it didn't go well
League
either.
North, and that went horrendously as to be expected. But Jesus Christ, you got to
Yeah.
be pretty desperate to be getting Lee Clark in as your manager.
Now there is a whopper.
Yeah. I remember when he got sacked by Huddersfield, and no one can understand why. And the Huddersfield fans were like, basically, he's a div.
He's the least inspirational man I've ever heard give a press conference.
Everyone was like, you're fourth, and Charlton are running away with it, and the two Sheffield clubs are doing well, and you're fourth. You had a big unbeaten one. Why have you sacked him? He doesn't know what team he plays, and he's pissed everyone off. All right, fair enough.
And they have the longest unbeaten run in football or something.
Yeah, 49 games. They threw most of them.
But they forgot about the playoff game that they lost, right?
Yeah, some creative accounting helped that run, I think.
Yeah.
They're still unbeaten, aren't they? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
6
Yeah,
years
they've
ago.
scored more goals and they've still not lost.
Well, they couldn't hang on against Lincoln last night, thank God.
Indeed. Yeah, let's have a quick look at the league table before we get into the Reading game. So, aforementioned Lincoln, top on 81 points. Cardiff, 5 points back from them on 76. Go ahead. Don't go ahead. All right. Bolton, 10 points back on 66, top of the playoff places. Bradford, 1 point behind them on 65. Then a 6 point gap back to Stockport in fifth, who are a point ahead of Reading on 58, but with 2 games in hand on most of the teams around them. Huddersfield and Stevenage, 7th and 8th, a point behind Reading, but Stevenage have that game in hand we talked about, so they can go back up to 6th if they win that. Actually, no, Huddersfield also have a game in hand, so scratch that. No, they don't. Huddersfield on 38. I'm reading this really well. Wickham, a point behind us in 9th, but on 38 games, along with Plymouth on 56 from 38 in 10th. Luton Town, 54 from 38 in 11th. Barnsley, 50 from 36 in 12th. Then Peterborough and Wimbledon on 49 from 37, 13th and 14th respectively. Mansfield Town, 15th on 46 from 36. Leyton Orient, 45 from 37. Disappointingly far from the relegation zone now. With Doncaster a point behind them on 44 in 17th. Burton on 43 in 18th, are a point ahead of Exeter on 42 in 19th. Wigan also on 42 in 20th, but with a game in hand on Exeter and Burton, so could slip past them. And then down among the dead men, Blackpool, 41 points, 38 games at the top of the relegation zone. Rotherham, 36 points from 37 games. Northampton, 35 from 38. And Port Vale, 28 from only 35, but still really, really grim for Port Vale fans.
Those bottom three, they're done. They're
Yeah.
done. Aren't they? Rotherham, Northampton, they're done. So it's one.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
It's Wigan or Blackpool. Burton have been sort of sucked in a little bit.
Burton are never in danger. They just pretend they're in danger.
But they'll win it. Exeter 42, which
Please.
with Caldwell going, you can if Blackpool do put a couple of wins together, you can't really see. I mean, Exeter have lost 4 on the spin, haven't they? So you just sort of think,
Absolutely.
and they've got Wigan at the weekend. So yeah, it's
That's 3 more points to play for. Exeter go down.
true.
We got Wigan on the last day of the season, haven't we?
Yeah.
So
Throw the game. If Exeter win it, throw the game.
Dr. Stevenage will come in and help them out that last day, I'm sure.
The charity case.
We did that with Burton last year, didn't we? Was that the last home game of the season, was it? I
Yeah.
think, yeah. Kept them up.
Terence even got sent off, didn't he? I think, or was that earlier this season? But I think Exeter have got Orient and they've got Blackpool as well. So I think the next 3 are against like rivals in that bottom 6. So
one thing I will say, coming up to the playoffs, you've got basically kind of 5 teams competing for one spot. I think Stockport with those games in hand, assuming they don't.
Yeah, they've got quite an easy run. I think they've got Luton and Wickham are the most difficult games. I think they've got Bolton, but I think
they're pretty safe.
They've got Wimbledon twice. They've got to play Wimbledon home and away.
Oh, have they?
Which in April is like insane, isn't it? You haven't played a team yet.
I think they're pretty safe in that playoff mix. I think it's basically 5 teams for that one spot, which is, from a neutral perspective, pretty exciting for us. Not particularly, but I'm not going to include Luton as part of that, just to wind them up, really. But yeah, Plymouth, Wickham, ourselves, Huddersfield, and Reading. One of those teams vying for one spot. I think that's
Reading are 4-1. I looked earlier, 4-1 to make the top 6, and I'd
Really?
fancy that. Yeah. We're the 4 favourites to make the top 6 after Bolton, Bradford, and Stockport. So Becky still fancy us to do it.
I weirdly can't. I think Wickham's result against Cardiff was unbelievable. Was it last night or whenever they played them? That was a great result for them. But I weirdly can't see past Plymouth. I think they're just hitting form at the right time. And I think if they weren't spectacular last night by any stretch, but you don't need to be. You just need to get results, and it feels like that's what they're doing at the moment. So even though they're a bit behind, not by much, granted, I wouldn't be surprised if they nicked a spot. I think Huddersfield have been a bit inconsistent. We're quite inconsistent. Wickham, albeit a good result, they've lost a couple on the bounce in the last sort of 5-6 games. So,
but that shock against Bolton as well.
Yeah, well, that was terrible, wasn't it? I mean, but at the same time, I just have a feeling Plymouth will be the ones to get there. I think Reading at 4-1 there is great value. I think
Bradford are 4-1 to win the playoffs as well, or to get promoted, which should obviously be playoffs. And I would be very strongly. I think that Bolton have an awful playoff record. Bolton have they do not do playoffs. So like Preston, MK Dons, they do not do it.
Yeah.
So then
Parkinson's feeling the pressure. He was having a right old whinge up in his interview I watched this morning about Nigel Clough and how Clough likes to keep the ball out of play and dead time. And what are you whinging about, mate? You're in the playoffs. Don't worry about it.
That's just League One. It's everyone.
They're almost certainly nailed on to be 5th as well. They're not going to catch Bolton. They're not going to get caught by anyone else. Their home form's brilliant.
Not Phil Parkinson, sorry, Graham Alexander, isn't it? Is it Graham Alexander?
Yeah, Graham. Bradford, yeah, Graham Alexander.
I've got Wrexham on the brain.
He's not going to like it when Philip Marshall's kicking the ball out of play every goal kick, is he?
Yeah.
All right then, Saturday, Stevenage, Reading a point ahead of us, so massive playoff implications in this one. We're 7th in the home form table, 10 wins, 6 draws, 2 defeats. Reading been decent on their travels this season. They're 5th in the away table, 6 wins, 6 draws, 7 defeats. Scored 29, conceded 28 compared to our 21 home goals, 11 conceded at the Lamex, or whatever it's called this week. They won 2-1 at Burton on Tuesday night, drew 2-2 with Plymouth at home the game before that. They lost away at Mansfield the Tuesday night before that, and then won their 2 fixtures before that away at Luton and home at Bradford. So pretty decent form through March coming into this one. Slightly better than ours, I'd say. We've come in with 3 wins, 2 losses in the last 5. Their top scorer, Jack Marriott, went down injured with a hamstring injury, so some big shoes to fill there for them. But they've got Lewis Wing, 9 goals, 11 assists. He's the biggest guy I guess we need to keep tabs on in this game. Thoughts on the upcoming game this Saturday?
2 words: must win.
Yes,
I think even though we've got that game in hand, I think we lose this just purely from a momentum perspective. It kind of feels like we're miles away from where we need to be if we don't win on Saturday.
And Steve in commentary has been saying it for weeks. Every time at 5-3, he comes out, must win. But yeah, Saturday. If you don't win Saturday, then
there's too many teams around us. If it was 1 or 2, you'd go, well, they can drop. You're not going to have all 5 teams because of dropping points. If you lose 1, at least 2 will pull away from you at any given time. Especially now that we're all going to start playing each other, because it seems like we're all playing each other now. I might go, so if I do, apologies, that's us screwed. I plan on coming back.
You might as well have my ticket then.
I plan on coming back for the women on Sunday because that'll be a massive deal and I want to be there for that. And I looked at trains and I'm like, I can't really get back in time Sunday morning. I have to come Saturday. Well, if I'm coming Saturday, I might as well go to the game as well. But
yeah,
I've not seen this win since September, so maybe I just shouldn't go.
Oh, you segued us beautifully onto the Sunday game. Stevenage women host Royston at the Lamex. Borough are top of the table, having won their last 4 fixtures without conceding a goal, which included a 1-0 win in the Cup against Royston. Royston are 3rd. They're 13 points behind Stevenage. They played 1 fewer game. They're 1 point behind Atletico London, who are 2nd, but they played 4 games more than Royston, so it's a slightly false position, I think. Royston's last win was the game before they lost in the Cup to Borough. They beat St Albans 4-1. They subsequently lost to Harpenden in a different cup competition and then drawn with Atletico London and Harpenden in the league. So that all means this game is beautifully poised. A win guarantees Borough the title and promotion, which looking at the pyramid structure, presumably as to the FA Women's National League Division 1 Southeast, bit of a fucking mouthful, but it's the equivalent of Tier 4, so like League 2 level, which is still regionalised in the women's pyramid, but still, like, taking them up to what is the equivalent of League 2 level is a big like badge of honour for the team. So could be a really momentous day in the history of Stevenage Women's Football Club. So get yourself down there, 2:00 at the Lamex on Sunday. But do be aware that there's a circus on Fairland, so parking this weekend is going to be limited. Any thoughts on Sunday's game?
I thought you were going to say, do be aware that Albie's going to be there. I was like, that seems a bit hard.
Yeah, that's a bonus. That's
I went Sunday.
Parking problems to see.
So unlike the men's team who want to play in Plymouth from the other side of the country, the women's team were nice enough to play 17 miles from my house because they play Dussendale, who play at the Nest in Norwich, which is nice of them. So I went to watch. They are very good. They are really, really good. And hopefully they do it on Sunday. I was trying to be... I'm very negative about Stevenage. I'm like, oh, it's going to be a big crowd because obviously it's being played at ours. A title on the line, that's us drawing 1-1. But that's the standard I have for the men's team, that we're in a good day. The women are better than this. They won't do that. I have full faith in them. And if Sarah Wiltshire could play for the men's team on Saturday as well, it'd be very nice because she is ridiculous and she scores so many goals. She's got 47. She scored 2 brilliant finishes on Sunday that would never, ever get in touch by any keeper on the planet. And we could do it in the men's team.
Brilliant.
Because she finds a net.
The only way you'll get more... Sorry, mate. The only way you'll get more women's football at the Lamex or Stevenage FC Stadium, Broadway, is by getting down there. Because let's be honest, Phil needs this to make commercial sense. So I think I definitely encourage anyone to go down and watch the game purely for that reason. Because I think they should be playing at the Lamex more often.
And they got some really great cheerleaders, haven't they? You know, they got a really enthusiastic bunch led by Fiona and Becky and those brilliant ladies. So yeah, they deserve the success that hopefully they're going to get. Yeah,
there's been a real commitment from a lot of people to make even the little games seem. Like I went there Saturday and there seemed to be such a good buzz around. Obviously, you're winning top of the league, you're going to enjoy it. The players seemed like they were just having fun as well. As serious as they were competitive, I was talking to Rolo about it, which is a kit man. I said, they still actually just enjoy football. And I'm not used to that because like, you go watch Borough, even when we're winning, it's heads down, switched on. Like the players were still having a laugh and a joke. It's easy at 3-0 up, but they still seem like they just enjoyed what they were doing, which is sort of going out of the game in men's football now, where it's very stats, numbers, awful football in the Prem. So I reckon it's a breath of fresh air, really. I recommend it.
Good.
Absolutely. Get yourselves down there on Sunday, and then you'll have seen what we're talking about on Monday, so you can tell us how wrong we were about it. Any closing thoughts before we wrap things up for this show? All right.
I had a look at top scorers for us. Reed has outscored our next 3 combined.
Yeah.
If it was what goals, that's...
So I look at the clean sheet table when Phil's on 13 now, so let's hope he picks up 14 on Saturday.
Is that the competition now? What happens more, Reed scoring or Phil not conceding? Because they're now tied on 13.
What's Reedy on? 12, 13. Well, they're level.
Yeah.
So a goal for Reedy and a clean sheet, you know, they're going for it. The golden
This is a real race. Yeah, so you've got Reed on 13 and you've got Chem on 4, Kemp on 4, White on 3. So that's 11 combined. And then after that, it's Pidge on 2, I think. Or 3.
Get your money on Matt Phillips being second top goal scorer on 5 by the end of the season, then.
Yeah, good shout, Pat. Good shout.
All right. Thanks for joining us tonight.
And
until next time, up the Borough.
Up the Borough.
Oh, I made it.